The more complicated your drawings become, the more tools you'll need to help simplify your work. One such tool is the Isolate Layer command. With Isolate Layer, you can select layers by picking entities on your screen, and AutoCAD will hide or lock all of the other layers. On my screen, I've got a civil engineering example. This happens to be a drawing of a tree survey, and we're going to use this geometry to explore the Layer Isolate command. Now we can find the tool in the Layers panel of our ribbon. The Isolate icon is right here. Let me click to select that. And now AutoCAD is asking for the layers to isolate. Let's say I'm currently working with my property boundary. That's this cyan line. I'm going to isolate this layer by selecting it, and then I'll right-click and select Enter. And when I do, AutoCAD fades and locks every other layer in my drawing, thus isolating my boundary. Now, to be honest, I don't care for the way AutoCAD displays the unisolated geometry, because this can be extremely confusing. If you forget that you're working with isolated layers, you can continue to draft and then wonder why you can't make any edits to your line work. So what I'm going to do is show you how to make some changes to the Isolate Layer settings to make it a little easier to understand on screen. Let's unisolate our geometry. I can do that by clicking this icon. Now that everything's back to normal, I'm going to go to my Layer Properties palette. Then we'll come all the way down to the end and we're going to click this wrench. This represents our layer settings. Right in the middle of this dialog box are the controls that we use for the Isolate Layer tool. Right now we can see that it's set to lock and fade the unisolated layers. Instead, I'd rather turn those guys off. Now that I've made my change, let's come down and click OK. Let's try and launch the command again. I'm going to come up and click the Layer Isolate tool. Let me select my property boundary, and I'll right-click and select Enter. And notice that this is the only geometry that I now see on screen. At this point, I can make any changes I have to, and when I'm done, I can simply click my Unisolate button to put the layers right back the way they were. Using the Isolate Layer tool is a great way to simplify your geometry on screen and make it easier to work on larger drawings. It won't be long before the Layer Isolate command becomes one of your favorite tools.